So let me just stop you right there. So you said you went to your bank. They gave you whatever reason they couldn't do a loan that you needed them to do, but they said, "Wait a minute, we know somebody that maybe can help you." Is that correct?
Correct. Yep.
So Vernon, you did exactly what we preach, right? I mean, you went out. Your style of getting business is going out, talking to bankers, getting their turn down. So that's like no greater testament of how that works, right? Because
It's yeah, Chris. It's the best way to do it. I mean, that's 90% of my business are bank referrals. So
right.
you know,
So
we do that all day long.
all right, beautiful. So now, Michael, you got turned down, then you got introduced to Vernon. I take it you liked Vernon. Otherwise, you wouldn't have done 20 transactions with him over 5 years.
Absolutely. I like him. Absolutely.
There are just too many commercial loan brokers that don't have a damn clue of what they're doing. All we're trying to do here is better the industry for everybody. At the end of the day, you can make great money in this industry, but in the end, it's all about helping people. You know, people always say, Chris, how can I be a successful broker? It's two words, hard work and dedication. If you don't like talking to people, you probably shouldn't be in this business. Hey, everybody, welcome back to Entrepreneurs in Finance, where we explore the daily lives of CCTG graduates, employees, lenders, everybody else in between. And on this episode, this is a very unique kind of one-off episode that I think will bring value to whomever is watching this. This is an episode where we're actually going to highlight a very successful graduate of our program, but we're also going to interview a client of that graduate and kind of show that client broker relationship and how this person has helped this client throughout the years. So I'm very excited to interview both these individuals. So to start off, he was interviewed on our podcast previously. I want to introduce Vernon Lesser of Bull Market Capital. Hey, Vernon.
Hey, Chris. Good morning.
Good morning. Good to see you again.
Absolutely.
This is another appearance on our podcast, and I also it looks like you have a client of yours by the name of Michael Carpino of Carpino Investments. Hey, Michael.
Chris, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. So, all right, Vernon, this is a very unique concept, at least with our podcast, to kind of show a different dynamic of what our graduates do, and I guess there's no better person to do that with than yourself. I'm just going to remind our viewers, you had attended our January 2017 class. You were a platinum graduate, and we've interviewed you before. I'm not sure the date, Joe, of when we actually interviewed Vernon, but about a couple years back. Yeah, 2020 we interviewed. 2020, is that correct? So Vernon, we've been tracking your business. You kick ass. You're doing very well, and now you're here, and I love to do this segment highlighting the relationship between yourself and a current client of yours. So Vernon, why don't you kind of give the lay to land of who we have on here? Tell me about Michael. Tell me about kind of how you got started with Michael and what you've been doing with Michael. And then Michael, I'm going to attack you and kind of ask you about how is it working with Vernon. So go ahead, Vernon.
Sure. So I met Michael through a bank referral maybe about 5 years ago, and Michael was living in Jacksonville, Florida at the time. I'm in Greensboro, North Carolina. So he was coming back and forth. He found two buildings in a downtown, in a old beat up downtown in a town called Eden, North Carolina, population 5 or 10,000 people. Bought these buildings for really nothing. And Michael's from the Boston area. His background is in renovating historical type buildings. Into multifamily or mixed use. So Michael bought these two buildings. It took us a while to get funding for him, living out of town, brand new, really into this type of industry as far as a developer and owner. And we were able to get him a line of credit for the construction build out on these two properties. He built them out, and after that, we probably moved on to 10 or 15 other similar properties.
Wow.
And Michael's in his restaurant right now, which is really right across the street from the original property. And he's had that open for about I think it's been about a year. And we financed his SBA loan on that property, and he also has a residential construction company now, building houses. That's another one of his companies. So he's rocking and rolling. He's done a great job in the 5 years. We've been working together, and I mean, we've probably done at least 20 loans together, maybe 25.
I was just gonna ask you that. How many transactions have you done with, and have you helped them with? And that's, you said about 20, correct?
I would say at least. Michael, you can confirm that, but it's been a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. At least 2025. Absolutely.
Wow. So that's great. I mean, so Michael, tell me about, Vernon kind of went over your group of businesses that you had. Did you first of all, how did you find Vernon? How'd you come across Vernon?
We had a loan from a certain bank and they wouldn't, they said, no, we're not loaning in Eden. There's nothing going on there. But let me introduce you to this broker, Vernon from Bull Market Capital. And that's just how we clicked and we started talking. I think we actually had lunch over at the place there in High Point.
Yeah.
And that's when we started talking.
So let me just stop you right there. So you said you went to your bank, they gave you whatever reason they couldn't do a loan that you needed them to do, but they said, wait a minute, we know somebody that maybe can help you. Is that correct?
Correct. Yep.
So Vernon, you did exactly what we preach, right? I mean, you went out, your style of getting business is going out, talking to bankers, getting their turn down. So that's like no greater testament of how that works, right? Because
It's yeah, Chris, it's the best way to do it. I mean, that's 90% of my business are bank referrals. So
right. So
we do that all day long.
all right, beautiful. So now, Michael, you got turned down, then you got introduced to Vernon. I take it you liked Vernon. Otherwise, you wouldn't have done 20 transactions with him over 5 years.
Absolutely. I like him. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. What? So, being a business owner, Michael, right? It looks like you got a lot of stuff going on. You're successful in your own right. Talk about, and I think our viewers. So you got to understand, Michael. People who view this podcast are other people like Vernon, that have come through here, and people looking to come through here. But tell me about the struggle of getting capital just on your own as a small business owner. I mean, because right, it's talk about that process, because you've probably tried to do it many times and it's a struggle, right?
Absolutely. It was go to the bank, sit, don't know who to talk to, get passed around person to person. Can really never get an in at the bank to really talk to anyone. You do, they just look at it just like another loan. They don't know you. And I probably say 3 or 4 banks before we finally
Really?
met somebody that said, hey, we have somebody, Vernon, to help you out. And when I went to Vernon, I was disappointed. I'm like, man, I don't know if you're going to help me out or not. I bought these buildings. I have no idea what I'm going to do with them. I was kind of down and out. I'm like, yeah, we'll just keep them there and do nothing with them. And Vernon was very positive, and he says, "Man, we're gonna get these done for you." And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, I heard that 3 times now." But when I
Mhm.
met him, we just clicked, and I knew that what he was telling me was the truth. That he wanted to do best. He wanted us to succeed, and it was great.
Yeah. Well, that, I mean, and let me talk to you about that process. So it looks like you've done many different types of loans with Vernon. Is that correct? Yeah,
Yes,
you correct. You've done many different types of loans with Vernon, and that has to be comforting in that Vernon has the ability to do. He's not like a bank that just has a box, right? And they only do a small amount of things in that box. How important was it for Vernon's ability to be able to execute on different types of loans for you, because you're in different types of businesses? You're in restaurants, real estate. You know what I mean?
it was extremely important how he was able to do different types of loans because I wasn't afraid going out and finding different projects that had other aspects, not just residential, but mixed use in restaurants, in the coffee shop, in yoga studios. So it made it easy for me and comfortable knowing that, hey, I can go find what I want and Vernon's going to get it done for me because he has all the loans, has the contacts, and he could do all different types of loans, which I think is very big in a broker when you find somebody like that to use that they can do all aspects of different loans.
And is it is he has Vernon's business now, Bull Market Capital, has that grown into like he's your go-to person now? Whenever
Oh,
you
it's
had something, you just call him up immediately.
yeah. I Vernon, I'll call him and say, hey, I want to do this deal. Can we do it? He does all the deals. He does all of our loans on this side. What I mean this side is I did a residential for my personal house, but he pointed me in the direction who to go to, and they did
Yeah.
the loan for me. Um, But other than that, he does every single loan that we do. I would never change. I would never bicker about the percentage. To me, it's priceless that he can do them all.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, has Vernon even taken you out to dinner for Christ's sake, or at this point?
You know, I think we go to the same place that we started our conversation. Up
The same restaurant.
the same. I take him out now, Chris. I invite him up to the restaurant. I give him free food.
Good.
That's right. That's true.
So is that the most recent one? You decided to open up a restaurant, and I think Vernon, you said you facilitated it with an SBA loan. Is that correct?
That was maybe 2 weeks ago.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, congratulations. What kind of restaurant is it, Michael?
At a sports bar called Uptown Tavern Sports Bar. It's in downtown Eden. And when I came here, I promised them that I would open some kind of sports bar because they don't have one here. And I mean, we opened it. It's good. Full liquor license. We're expanding now to having pasta, you know, on
Yeah.
this side. So it's been successful.
Wow. Wow.
And Chris, I always want to mention also, I believe we may have gotten the first SBA cap lines loan in history for Michael for his construction of his residential properties.
Really?
We did that maybe 2-3 months ago. Yep.
Wow.
So he's got a SBA line of credit to build his residential construction properties under Big Dog Construction, his construction
Wow.
company.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's a great loan. A great loan. Never thought we could get it. But I think there's only like 2 of us in the country that actually have it right now.
Yeah.
Wow. And this guy got it for you. Wow.
Yes, Vernon got it. A lot of work on his part, but we got it.
But you got it. Wow. So tell me about this, Michael. I'm going to ask you 2 questions and be honest. So what's the best thing you like about working with Vernon? The best thing.
He's always going to lead me the right way. He's
Yep.
never going to try to tell me to do something that's only in the best interest for himself.
Yep.
He's always looking for the best interest of his client. And with that being said, I have no worry. I give him full range. Vernon, do what you think is right. Do the right loan program that you think is right. And I know that I can sleep at night that Vernon is handling our loans.
And what do you absolutely hate about Vernon? There's got to be one thing you hate about Vernon.
He calls a lot.
When you say he calls a lot, what do you mean? He just
Calls. And, yeah, I don't answer sometimes. I can't answer on the first time. Remember, Chris. That means I'm not busy.
That's right. That's right. All right. And Vernon, what do you love about Michael? What's the best thing you love about Michael?
Oh, I mean, Michael and I clicked from the start. We actually have bought a property together, it's a multifamily mixed use type property that Michael's building out right now.
Oh, so you guys are involved in that together, though?
We are. Yep.
Wow. Okay. What a relationship. What do you absolutely hate about Michael? There's got to be something you hate about him.
Don't answer.
Hey, I don't think there's anything I hate about Michael.
He doesn't pick up his phone all the time. Is that what it is?
Well, yeah, he is. Yeah, he is a little tough to get to sometimes. So sometimes I got to drive up an hour to Eden to find him.
That's great. That's great. So, I mean, what a beautiful relationship. I mean, it turned out from handling, multiple transactions to you guys kind of went into a business venture together, which is great, right?
Oh, it's great. Yeah.
It's been awesome. It's been awesome. We couldn't be thankful enough to met him.
Michael, did you have any idea that like people like this existed in the profession? Like, did you like what Vernon does? Did you have any idea that was even a thing?
No, I didn't know they existed for the commercial side because the company that I worked for, we just never did that. We went direct to banks.
Right.
So we never had that middle person. So I had no idea it existed. But I'm very thankful it did.
Yeah, yeah. And you again, Vernon, you brought him out to the conference, is that correct?
No, he didn't make it this year.
Oh, he didn't make it.
We had to close the SBA one.
Got it. Okay.
All
right. Do you have anything in the works right now that you guys are working on in terms of, Michael, you got any things that
I'll tell you better at 3:30.
We got a new one.
We got a new one possibly. There's always something, but that and I'd love to try to send Vernon something for building interior space for like RV parking or boat parking, indoor air conditioned space for that stuff. But other than that, He does have a couple that will be coming to him for Reedsville, I think. We should know by tomorrow if we get the deals, but just residential.
Yeah, residential. So, and I'll just reiterate it again, Michael. You at this point now, right? I mean, Vernon can get you all different types of capital. That's kind of your first look, right? I mean, you don't even
Oh,
walk to a bank anymore.
I don't go to the bank. I don't even, I mean, we help them out with them, but I don't have no interest calling a bank. I have no interest of trying to figure out who to talk to at the bank. To me, I should be out finding buildings and giving Vernon the deals and let him make it work.
Yeah, yeah, and that's great. And Vernon, from your perspective, talk about how important it is to follow up with clients. Because I think so many of us, when I say us, I mean, graduates that come through like yourself, they think of it of a one and done type deal, right? So a client helps them, they get it done, and then what we have found is a lot of our people just don't have the right follow up skills. So talk about that process of how do you do that, right? I mean, what's your way of kind of following up so then it can blossom into a relationship like this?
Yeah, Chris, I think it's a relationship business. With the banks on one side of it, and your clients on the other side of it. Besides Michael, we probably have a dozen or 15 other clients we've done at least 3 loans with. So it's you've got to follow up. You want to take a personal interest in everybody and make sure they're doing well. It's because every business is going to need additional capital at some point in the future. It could be tomorrow, it could be 2 years from now, but everybody needs operating capital or growth capital. So it's very important to follow up, with everybody, and to do that, really, it's just personal. You call them on the phone, you text them, email, whatever it takes, to follow people.
And at this point, Vernon, how's your business been faring with kind of how the economy is and banks pulling back and banks saying no more and getting more conservative just by the nature of the economy? How's that affected your business?
So we actually had our best year this year, even though we had to change a lot of what we did. Previously, we were probably I'd say 60% investor type real estate deals,
right?
Investment real estate, and
Yep.
this year, it's been maybe 15-20%. So we're going more into government funded deals, a lot of SBA 7A and 504 USDA type of transactions.
And I'm going to reiterate, and your only way you're able to do that. So I'm glad you brought that up and kind of told how you transition, because the only way you can transition is having the products to transition with. So that's an important testament of the dynamic of our model. Because some years you may be, 80% doing investment real estate, but in your business, you kind of switched gears a little bit and went to things where you saw a need. So you kind of did like a flip flop in your business model. But you were only allowed to do that just because of the depth of products that you learned here. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely agree. And actually, because of the time it takes with SBA loans or USDA loans, you develop a relationship with your client. I mean, you're in it for months a lot of times, and so you're talking to them on a daily basis, and that's where the relationship really gets built. Many times, we don't do a whole lot of the one and done type of transactions. Just not really my business model. We may I may incorporate that into the plan in the future, but right now, I like the relationship type transactions, like the commercial real estate loans or the SBA type loans.
Got it. I got a good question for you, Michael. So when you're shooting the shit with your friends, or telling them about what you're doing, you bought this, you started this, and they're like, "Where the hell are you getting this capital? Like how are you doing this?" Do you kind of keep it to the vest and be like, "I got a guy," or do you like gladly refer other people, your peers, that are around doing what you're doing to Vernon, or you're like, "No, I want this guy to myself as a competitive advantage."
Well, it's so funny you say that because every day we have what we call coffee 2 hour, right? At the coffee shop. And we have some individuals in there that ask me all the time, "Hey man, how you getting the money to keep buying these buildings? How are you getting this to keep doing this? Who's getting you these loans?" One particular individual. And I say, we get the money. So am I
I got a
selfish? Yeah,
guy.
I don't give him Vernon's number. Absolutely not. You know what I mean? But on the other hand, if they're good people, and I think we had one that I turned on to him, maybe trying to get a school loan, then I absolutely give his number out. But most of the time, I don't tell him who he is. Even though he comes to all the events that I have, they forget exactly who he is.
They forget exactly who he is. Yeah, no, that's great. And I asked that question because people like Vernon who are coming in here on a monthly basis, right? They have that. They ask that question. They're like, hey, do my client once I get clients, do they refer clients to me? And I it's kind of 50-50, right? Because some people see it as a competitive advantage and say, no, I don't want anybody to know about this guy who can get me this because it keeps me, allows me to do what I do. And I don't want to share that. Yeah. So I get it. I get it.
I don't want to give them out. You're gonna take the building I want to buy. You're crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Especially in today's environment where it's very, very competitive. Well, this is Vernon, do you have anything else you want to say? Or at least I don't know, anything you want to disclose about just how important it is to cultivate a relationship like this? Because I think every graduate watching this wants this, or at least is striving to get, to have a relationship like this with a client.
Yeah, Chris. I mean, for me, it's tremendous. Michael's not only a client; he's a great friend, and I've got other great friends that I've relationships I've built over the years with clients and with bankers, and that's really my peer group now. And so to me, like Michael mentioned, he did introduce me to somebody who's building a school. It's a I forget what kind of school it is, but it's a school, $15 million, $20 million type deal. So it's just having relationships like that, the word spreads. Yeah, you will get additional business.
Yeah, absolutely. And Michael, any last words you want to say about working with one of our folks, Vernon?
Yeah, I just want to say, I think before I found out about Vernon, I didn't know anything about this, and I think that it's money well spent having a broker on your side doing your job for you, and having the relationship with one that you can trust in and not really worry, to me, is really priceless.
And you know what? That spawns another question. I appreciate that statement. You're a busy guy, right? You're doing this, you're doing that. You got multiple things going on. How can you put a value on the fact that now you have a guy that just like goes out there and does it for you? Like, in other words, how much time did that take up in your daily life, always looking for capital on your own and trying to navigate those waters, right? Because you're not a finance guy. You're an entrepreneur that does what you do, but you're not a finance guy. So how valuable is that? Just having a guy knowing that he's out there doing it, he's working it for you.
It's like I said, priceless, because they understand the bankers. They speak their language. I understand it. I have to work. I come home at 4:00 and I'll be dealing with bankers 9:00 at night, building reports, doing this, doing that, and still not really understanding what the banker is asking me, because that's not what I do. So for him to take over all that is unbelievable, and allow us to build to where we are now. If I didn't have him, we would never build to. We might have had a couple buildings, but we wouldn't be where we are now.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, listen, guys, Michael, I want to thank you for taking your time out. You're a busy guy to share your experience with working one of our folks. And Vernon, thank you again for coming on here and arranging this type of interview, because I think it's so valuable to other graduates that are viewing this. And I'm just going to tell everybody, this is the poster child scenario here of what it means to go out and form relationships and go out and get business from your banks. Right. The bank, turn downs from banks. That how you met Michael is what we preach in here. Go to your banker, and offer to get their turn downs. And that's exactly how you met Michael. So this is a poster child of kind of what we preach here. So thank you for setting this up, Vernon. It's great value to people that watch this.
Glad to be here.
All right.
Michael, too.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. All right. Well, that wraps it up for this episode of Entrepreneurs in Finance. This is a great one. Don't forget to download our podcast app on your Android or your iPhone, and so you can catch up the latest episodes coming up. And we got a bunch more coming up here before the end of the year, so be on the lookout for that. Thank you, Vernon. Thank you, Michael, again. Happy holidays, and we will catch everybody on the next one.
See you, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michael.
Bye.
There are just too many commercial loan brokers that don't have a damn clue of what they're doing. All we're trying to do here is better the industry for everybody. At the end of the day, you can make great money in this industry, but in the end, it's all about helping people. You know, people always say, Chris, how can I be a successful broker? It's 2 words, hard work and dedication. If you don't like talking to people, you probably shouldn't be in this business.